All right, guys, I'm out skating on the inlines tonight with Seth for the first time in about a week, and man, I hurt my back really bad this weekend riding a motorcycle, and now I can barely move. It's all I can do to skate. I mean, like, just skate, just move, literally. So I thought what I would do today, I've been thinking about this for a while, so I thought I would answer the age-old question today. Is it the equipment or is it the operator? And so the short answer is yes, but let's dive in and talk about what that means, and maybe you can save yourself some trouble with some gear if you take my advice at the end. Now, I would say neither skateboarding nor inline skating are gear intensive sports, but that doesn't mean you can't get caught up in trying to convince yourself that it's your equipment that's causing you to not make progress as fast as you want. And so let's talk about what I mean by that, and what I've observed in my life about equipment and progress. Now, I've been involved in a lot of equipment intensive sports in my life. I'm a scuba diver. I've had sailboats, I've had power boats, I've had Jeeps, I've had dirt bikes, and all of those things, you can really spin yourself into a hole on equipment. And, you know, even bicycles, mountain bikes, road bikes, you can spend a lot of money on those too. But in the end, how much difference does the equipment really make? So let me give you a prime example from my own life of where, like, going after the gear was, I don't know, it was fun. It was fun, but it really didn't serve the purpose that I wanted it to serve. And it really, in the long run, there was one other thing I could have done that would have made a much bigger difference than the gear. So for me, I was a triathlete for, I don't know, 15 years. And if you know anything at all about triathlon, it's a swim, bike, run. And the bike is obviously the most expensive piece of that, because, you know, running just shoes, swimming just a swimsuit and some goggles. But everybody tries to get a little bit of advantage any way they can, and a lot of it's on the bike. And I can tell you that you can spend a lot of money on a triathlon bike. I went through, I don't know how many sets of carbon fiber wheels, carbon fiber spokes, carbon seats, carbon handlebars, carbon everything, and then all that stuff costs money. And you know, it's to save a few ounces on the way to the bike to get a faster time on the bike. I wasn't slow on the bike, honestly. You know, I was usually the fastest runner in my group. I was upper middle pack on the bike, and I was a terrible swimmer. But I spent, oh my gosh, probably literally $15,000 looking for what ended up being maybe a few seconds in the long run on the bike. Now, let me say this before I get too far. I love gear. I'm a gearhead. I love collecting gear. I love having gear. And that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not saying if you've got the means to get the gear and you love collecting gear, or you just love the gear, that you shouldn't buy the gear, because I'm 100% for that. What I'm talking about here is thinking that the gear is what's going to make you a better skater or a better skateboarder. And in the end, I think what you're going to find is that it matters less than you think it does the further advanced you get. And what do I mean by that? So what I mean is that there's a point when you're a beginner where, like, really crappy gear can hurt you. I started off on the inline skates on like a mediocre low-end pair of skates, and honestly, I don't think that hurt me a bit. But I do think there's just some level that once you get below it, it's detrimental to your learning. I mean, you get a sport like mountain bike, and it can be dangerous. I mean, you get out there on a Walmart mountain bike and try to ride some of the trails up here in the North Carolina mountains, and the bike will break and you'll crash. And I think it's the same way with the skates and the skateboard. You know, you get something that's just totally crap, and it is gonna make a huge difference in your learning. But on the other end of the scale, there's a middle ground where you probably are gonna find that any decent gear is probably not gonna slow you down. And I think there's a long intermediate period where the quality of the gear up to a point really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. And then I think, you know, once you approach it on the high end again, there's going to come a time when upgrading your gear probably can add some advantage to you. You know, you can get faster wheels, better board, better, you know, skates, better liners. And so there's just a huge middle ground where I don't think it makes a huge difference. But what does make a difference? And what would have made a difference for me in triathlon, and what would have been a big game changer for me would have been spend time on my weak points. I said I was always one of the slowest swimmers. And what did I work on? I bought biking gear trying to get faster, and I ran more instead of doing swimming. And, you know, I think ultimately that's where you got to spend your time. You got to put time in to get better. It doesn't matter what gear you're on. You look at the guys at the skate park that are really good. Most of their gear is trashed. And the reason it's trashed is because they ride it. And that's the only way in the end to get better. It doesn't matter what you have. If you don't ride it, you're not going to get better. You can have the world's best skateboarder, world's best skates, but if you're not out here on them, you know, you're just not going to improve. You know, watching YouTube helps, maybe with some sticking points, but it's not going to help you get better. Sit home and watch YouTube. What's going to help you get better is to get out here and ride. So that said, you know, for me, I've got middle of the road gear pretty much all the time. You know, I don't ever buy top end stuff. I usually buy used gear, but I do have a new skateboard. I got some new skates and I really like them, and they're not hurting me at all. So I think I've got a lot of years of improvement before my gear really makes a big difference. So, you know, bottom line is get out there and skate. That's the way you get better. It doesn't matter what you're skating on. There used to be a saying in dirt bikes is rung what you brung. And you know, there's guys out there racing. I've raced against guys that their stuff was held together with duct tape and baling wire, and they kicked my butt. So, you know, a guy beat me one time with a pair of cowboy boots, kind of ticked me off. But you know, you got to go with what you got and get out there on it and just wear it out. So that's the key, is get on your board, get on your skates and skate. And that's how you'll get better regardless of what gear you got. All right, so if you guys have ever had a situation where you have suffered from gear lust in an effort to get better and it really didn't help you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about that and know that I'm probably not the only one that's ever done this. And like always, guys, thank you for watching. I'd appreciate a thumbs up if you like it, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. So until next time, we will see you on the next one.